we go. We got Robert DeLeo. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm really good.
So great to see you. I know what an occasion, the first Delta Deep show ever.
It is, and we're bringing it back to what it was like when, 20-something years ago? It was a long time ago when we played places like this.
Absolutely. So many great clubs have come and gone, but it's nice that there's places like this still around, giving new artists a shot.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So important. So now, where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in New Jersey.
That's right.
Yeah.
When did you make it to the left coast here?
1984.
Okay.
Yeah. I was 18 and just graduated high school. So
now your brother Dean, obviously, did he pick up the instrument before you? And
Oh, absolutely. I was
him?
following in his footsteps and stealing his guitar from under the bed when he wasn't home.
Right.
So
Now, why did you gravitate to the bass? Was it like to complete the band combo?
like any other bass player does. Yeah, I started on guitar and then they needed a bass player.
Less strings? And
Yeah, but I was rather tall and it just felt more comfortable,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I know, I got to ask you because I heard you met Scott at a Black Flag show. Was that true?
That was a long time ago. That was in
Long Beach, or where was
it was in Long Beach at Fender's Ballroom.
Fenders. Wow. Yeah, I helped promote Black Flag in the early days. I got them off the ground, put them on their first records and stuff.
Yeah.
That was amazing energy.
Yeah, that
Who
was
singing? Was Henry in the band?
Henry
Okay.
and I believe Kira on bass. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. So now you obviously had an incredible run with STP. Whole new chapter now with Chester.
Mhm.
How you guys feeling as far as having a singer you can count on?
I'm enjoying the last 2 years of my career more than I've enjoyed the last 15. So
Some stability,
yeah,
camaraderie.
yeah. So it feels good. Yeah.
We're talking more about that
Yeah,
some
but-
other time. But
Yeah.
now Delta D. When did you first meet Phil, and how did this synergy move towards this project?
There was a mutual friend who was a journalist who I talked to and made really good friends with right off the bat. And Phil is friends with him also. And I guess from what happened, this gentleman suggested that Phil give me a call. And, the great thing about this project is the people. Everyone's really great people. So
Seems like it came together very organic.
yeah, it did.
No record
It did.
label,
It did.
no-
Yeah, it did.
No preconceived notion.
Right. And I love Phil. He's about as real as it gets.
Totally grounded. After
Yeah.
this many years in the business.
Yeah. It's nice to see.
I told him I helped push his band Girl back in the 70s in college radio.
Really.
And the fact that he's still doing it
Right.
and still so grounded.
Right.
Really, really amazing stuff.
It's great to see. It's really great to see.
So now, what was the first inklings? He played you some songs, told you what
Yeah.
you're up to?
Yeah. He basically gave me the premise of what was going on and sent some songs over, and I was in. I enjoy playing R&B bass, and that's kind of where it all started for me, listening to Motown when I was little,
James Jamerson?
Absolutely my favorite bass player.
What
Yeah.
was it about Jamerson that just really spoke to you?
I don't know, when you're 3 years old and you're hearing that, you don't really quite understand it and get a grip out on it. It's just really how it makes you feel. Yeah, it's just how it makes you feel, And it still makes me feel the same way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, who are some of your other heroes? I know John Entwistle.
Oh man, I mean, we were all kind of, had the gift of growing up on great music. Born in the '60s and going through the '70s, and I mean that was a gift to be able to grow up on John Paul Jones and John Entwistle and Geddy Lee and Chris Squire and James Jamerson and a lot of R&B cats who, yeah. So I feel blessed that I was able to grow up on that music, man. Yeah.
Now, with Delta D, did Phil give you any direction at all, or just said, here's the song?
No, absolutely. He had some great bass lines. Yeah, he had some great bass lines for the stuff that I just kind of played as best I could, man. He came in with some great bass lines and great riffs, and you know, and that's great. I just played it as best I could, you know.
Tell us about any of the songs that resonate, the most with you.
Oh man, well, you know, it's I think all of them do. I think the first one I put down was Down in the Delta, more harder type song, and you know, I think getting a chance to play with Forrest is we just kind of rhythmically bonded.
That Memphis soul.
Man, you know, it's just like I said, the people that we're doing this with, you know, that's really what's great about it. And hearing Debbie and Phil, and you know, Phil's got such a great vocal as well as being a great guitar player.
I couldn't believe it. You know, he played me clips of the music, but then I hear him on KLOS, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. So.
That sounds like a lead vocal, right?
Yeah. This is fun. Well, you hear his voice, and then you realize, you know, you hear that Def Leppard sound, that back vocal sound. You know, it's like, oh man, you know, you're right. It's it's amazing, man, amazing. Yeah.
And tell us about Bang the Lid. Some of these other songs.
You know, I think Phil would have a better explanation of these songs, but you know, all these songs, like you said, they all kind of resonate with me, and each one has its own.
You take it as a body, like an album.
Right.
And
Right.
listen through it.
Right.
I know growing up, I'm sure you grew up with that album concept.
Oh man.
Start to finish, you drop the needle, and there would never be a thought of taking the needle off.
Yeah, I smoked a lot more weed back then too, so that helps.
Use the gatefold to
Absolutely. I have pictures of that I need to get from my friend when I was young. I shouldn't say how old I was, but when I was younger.
Who would have known it'd be legal one day? Huh?
Yeah, right? I know, man. Yeah.
Store like you're getting a pack of cigarettes.
Right, getting milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Get your supplies.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about the recording process, because I know you did some of these.
Yeah.
At your house.
Yes. You know, that was the thing that was great about it is, you know, when Phil asked me to play on this, you know, I suggested we do some of it at my place, and that worked out great, man. You know, because I'm really into all aspects of music, even the recording. The recording side of music fascinates me, so I really enjoy the whole process.
There's an art to everything.
There is, man. There is. Yeah.
The more you can master, the more you can interpret to others.
Yeah. I like the whole.
Of course, be self-sufficient.
Sure. I love the whole experience, you know, of recording and everything.
Sure. And who were the best producers you had worked with over the years that really you taught?
Oh well, you know, I had the gift of, you know, doing all my STP records, all of our STP records with Brendan O'Brien, and Brendan was a great teacher. You know, he was. I feel very fortunate I got to make those records with him. It would have turned out different, you know, if it wasn't him.
He was fairly unknown.
He was pretty much our first production, you know. Yeah, back in.
You got to see his career blossom.
Yeah.
AC/DC.
Yeah, a lot of artists, and you know, just off of the records that we all grew up with too, you know, whether it be George Martin or, you know, all these great people that made great records along the way, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know Phil talked about joining Leppard, where he just came in and assisted. You know, Martin is in there, and you know, he's just laying down. He's never really joined the band, just kind of.
Right.
You know, came to help and never left.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is that so important to have the chemistry, you know, among the
Oh, well, I mean, you know, writing and playing and making and music and recording music with people, it's really, it's like pulling your pants down, you know, you're revealing a lot. And I think that's, you know, you need that comfort of having people around that you feel good with, you know. So.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Doors open at 6:30. It's now 6:20.
Lord.
And Robert, what advice do you give to the young players? Because I know the business is constantly evolving, but as far as the creative side, to really be able to, find that style, find your niche.
Yeah, I think it's just, first off, being a good listener. I listen to many different kinds of music. The many different kinds of music, whether it was classical or country or, opera or rock and roll or jazz or funk. I mean, whatever you want to call it, I listened to it growing up. And I think that's really and I think everyone did. Everyone listened to as much as they could. I think it's being a good listener, first off, and then taking what you've listened to and applying it towards the way you feel and how you feel. And I think that's what ultimately brings out your originality and brings out your thing. I think if there wasn't a Chuck Berry, there wouldn't be a Keith Richards. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just one example of that. So.
Long lineage.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Robert, I can't wait to see you in the inaugural Delta Deep, and look forward to Chapter 2, and we'll get a little more in depth with you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
good.